Hello, trucker family. I hope you guys are doing well in this new year. So, I wanted to come to you guys today and share with you what we feel is the top 10 ways that truck drivers get paid. Now, there may be some other ways out there. If you know of some ways, definitely feel free to drop them in the comments. But what we've experienced, these are some of the top ways that truck drivers are getting paid. So, the first one is cents per mile. So everybody knows CPM. It's also called CPM, but it's cents per mile, CENTS. And so what that is most of these companies and some owner operators, individual carriers, they will pay you per mile on a per mile basis, depending on where you're going, how far you're going. Some companies have what they call a sliding scale. So for example, if you're making 50 cents a mile and you're only going 30 or 40 miles, then it's not feasible to pay you cents per mile. So on those very, very short haul runs, it's not feasible to pay cents per mile. So they do like a sliding scale where if you go this particular amount of miles, then you make this much, or you get paid this CPM. If you go this one, say 100 to 500, then you get paid this CPM. So it just depends on the particular company that you're at, and that determines your cents per mile. Another one that we see a lot is a minimum pay guarantee. So we have a lot of companies that we work with that will pay you a minimum amount. So they'll say the minimum that you'll make per week is $1,000, or we've seen on some of our teams, we see like $1,600 minimum pay. Now, that doesn't mean that that's all you're going to make on that week. You may make more, much more than that 1,000, 1,200, or whatever they say that the minimum is. But it just depends on how much you're running. If you're running more, of course you're going to make more. So minimum pay guarantees, I like companies that do a minimum pay guarantee, because no matter what your week is like, say it's a very slow week, if you're only running 1,500, 1,700 miles for that week, they're going to still guarantee, as long as you're available. And this is what a lot of companies say. As long as you're available and ready for work for however many days they specify, whether it's 5 days, 6 days, 7 straight days, as long as you're available, they will pay you that weekly minimum guarantee. So again, weekly minimum pay guarantee. I like that one. That one is a really good one. The next one is salary. So I've seen several companies on different dedicated accounts that will pay drivers salary. And so what that means when I say salary, that is a set daily or weekly pay. So I have some companies that will pay a set $225 a day on a dedicated account. I think it's in like the Chicago area, running regional. And so it's a flat $225 a day lane. So if you run 150 miles that day, or if you run 500 miles that day, it's still that flat 225 miles. Now, some of my drivers like this, depending on how much they're running. But I recently talked to a driver, and he was saying, he getting the shit ran out of him. And, it wasn't worth the 225 a day. He felt like he should be making more because he was running a lot more. So you want to make sure that before you sign that salary, or before you, agree to work on that salary account, that you have a good idea and understanding of how much you're going to be running, because companies do this so that they can maximize and get as much out of you for, that particular rate. All right, so the next one that I'm going to talk about is hourly. And I have some mixed feelings on hourly. It just depends on, what the company is offering with the hourly. Okay, so here's why I say that. So I have a driver, and he was out of Texas, and so he was working on an account where that company wanted to get their 14, they wanted to get their max amount of hours, that whatever he could drive in that day, that's what they want. Now they were paying him like $18 an hour. And that sounds good to an extent. But when you break that $18 an hour down, it's not really $18 an hour, because you got to think, if you're running your full 14-hour clock for that one day, and then you got even if you got a 30-45 minute commute to work, you also got to get from work. So you got to consider the amount of time that you're going to be spending in that day. So if you start at, say you start at, 4:00 a.m., that means you got to get up, you got to leave the house by 3:15. You got to get there by 4. You got to be ready and in your truck. And then you run your 14 hours, 4 to 6 p.m. And then you get off. And then by the time you get home, it's, 7, 8 o'clock at night. And your whole day is gone. So hourly and local is one thing, but you got to consider all the other things. Yes, it's great to sleep in your bed, but at the end of the day, that company is still going to maximize what they pay you. Okay. And then a lot of these companies, when they do hourly, I don't have a whole lot of companies that pay time and a half. So that hourly is all straight pay. Okay. It's all straight pay. So you want to make sure that you understand how you being paid when you getting paid hourly, and sit down with your significant other and go through what that really looks like, what that hourly really looks like. Okay, so the next one is percent of the load. Okay, so this is percent per load. So a lot of owner operators that I work with, they pay a percentage of the load. Most of my companies don't really pay a percentage. They either pay by mile or hourly or salary or something like that. But most of my owner operators that I work with, they will pay a percentage of the load. So if the load pays, $3,000, then the driver gets a percentage of that $3,000. Now, it depends on that particular company, on how they break that down, whether it's before expenses, whether it's after expenses. That just depends on the particular company. Most of them do, a lot of them do before, after expenses, they take off that percent. Some do before. The other thing with the percent of load, what I normally see entry, like if you, just getting started, got, just a few months or a year experience, a lot of them will bring you in at 25. 25 is low percent of the load. I've seen 28. I have a owner op that just, he recently did 30. I think 30 is a good start with the company, just so that the owner op can see what kind of, driver you are. Give a good incentive, because it's 1099. Number one, you're not gonna be getting no benefits. You're not gonna get no taxes taken out. So you got to take care of all that other stuff. So when you consider that 30%. That 30% will help kind of offset some of those other charges if you managing your money and putting, taxes and stuff like that away. That definitely is 30% is a good starting point. Next one is detention pay. So drivers get paid detention pay. Of course, it's not going to be a lot. They get paid detention pay when they are detained. So this is what I've seen in the past. So I've seen companies that if you get detained at a shipper, picking up your load or dropping off your load, you can, they'll pay you after you've been there a certain amount of time. Now, some companies say 2 hours, some companies say 4 hours. It just depends on what that particular company's requirements are. Now, I've seen detention pay at $15 an hour. I've seen it at $50 an hour. So it just depends on the particular company. And then you'll get paid for how many hours you're detained, up to a certain amount. Now, a lot of companies will only pay up to a certain amount of hours for you being detained. But that's another thing that you need to make sure that you know before you get started with that particular company. So yeah, detention pay is another one. The next one is stop pay. So for example, on a Walmart account or some of these dollar store accounts, these companies will pay you by the stop. So you get your mileage pay, you get your stop pay. I've seen stops $20 a stop after your first stop. A lot of them don't pay for that first stop for some reason, but after your first stop, then they start paying that stop pay. I had a team lane for Target at one time. This was about a year or so ago, but they was getting paid like $25 or $30 a stop. And that's the $35 a stop. That's really, really good. When you're getting into those dollar stores, some of those pay a lot for your stops as well. Let's see here. The next one that I'm gonna talk about is hazmat pay. Oh yeah, hazmat pay. Okay, so a lot of drivers, and I hear a mix of both. I ain't gonna get my hazmat because I had it all this time and they weren't paying me this and that and the third. Or I have drivers saying, hey, I done, found a good company. They pay me, such and such, an extra 5 cents, extra 10 cents for any hazmat loads that I pull. So, if you got a hazmat, use the hazmat so you can, 1, get the hazmat experience, and 2, get that extra hazmat pay, because it always come in handy to have a little bit extra on your weekly settlements. Okay, so hazmat pay is another one. Backhauls. So I know particularly on the dollar store accounts. So whenever I tell my drivers about dollar store accounts, I like to break it down how you get paid, because it's different. It's very different how you get paid on dollar stores than how you get paid on some of these other accounts. But on dollar stores, they have backhauls. So when you go to the store and you drop off the load, unload the load or whatever, and when you leave, if you're taking back either merchandise, supplies, or equipment, things like that they had in the store that they need to send back to the DC, a lot of times dollar stores will pay $30, $40 a backhaul for everything that you take back to the distribution center. So if you're thinking about getting on a dollar store, keep in mind a lot of them do pay back hauls. And then also on dollar stores, the other one is unload. So they pay unload pay for you to unload that trailer. Is it some work? Heck yeah. Go check out my other video. It's called Everything You Need to Know About Dollar Stores. So it tell you everything you need to know. I break down everything. Anything you want to know about dollar stores, I break it down. But unload pay, they do pay you to unload. Now I've seen unload pay for dollar stores at $100 a load. I've seen it at $220, $250 a load. It just depends on where you are in the United States, what account you're on, dollar store wise, but they do pay you to unload the trailer. So those are the top 10 ways that you can get paid as a truck driver. Now there's a couple of others, here and there. There's, some companies run holiday bonuses. Like over the last, few years, I've had a company that do a $300 or $500 holiday bonus for you to come during the holiday period, whether it was 4th of July, whether it was Christmas, New Year's week, Thanksgiving week. They give you an extra $300 or $500 after you finish orientation. So you'll get it that same week with that first week's paycheck. So that's another way to get paid. And then, of course, sign-on bonuses. Sign-on bonuses, I'm going to have to do a whole new video just to talk about sign-on bonuses because everybody's is different. Everybody does different things. Nobody is going to bust off and drop you 10 G's right after orientation. So if they saying $10,000 sign-on bonus, do not expect it to be as soon as you get out of orientation, they're going to write you a check for 10 G's because that's not how it works, okay? So they will break that sign-on bonus up. They're gonna dice it up and slice it up, and it's going to be over a year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year. You ain't going to even be with the company that long unless you just absolutely love them, okay? But if you're looking for a sign-on bonus, you want to find the one that pay the most in the first, couple months, okay? The first 5 months, first 6 months, however. And it's a lot of them that pay, like I have one that will pay $500 after you pull your first load. So that's huge. So if you was to go, think about this. So I had a driver. He went to this company during the holiday period, okay? The holiday period where they was running that $300 sign-on bonus. So he got his orientation pay, which I think it was like $50 a day. He got holiday pay, which was $300. Plus, after he pulled his first load, he got $500. That was after the first load. So that first week or week and a half or 2 weeks or whatever, he got $5, $6, $7, $8, $950. He got $950 extra on his check. So that's another way that that you can get paid with those sign-on bonuses. But I'll do a whole nother video to talk about sign-on bonuses, y'all, because I just, they be doing the most with them sign-on bonuses. So don't be falling for the okie dokie out there with those sign-on bonuses. And another way, last bonus way is there's some safety bonuses that different companies will give you. So I've seen companies give you, if you're a safe driver and you ain't had no accidents, you good on fuel, efficient with their fuel, saving them fuel money and stuff. I done seen them give 2 and 3 cents a mile added to your CPM pay. I've seen them I seen a company that did a drawing for a car. Okay, so those are some extra bonuses and pluses and stuff like that. The ways that drivers can get paid. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. I hope you took something away. If I missed something or something that you want me to go into more detail about, drop it in the comments, because I'm going to be sharing some more information with y'all, because you always need to know how you can get paid with these companies, okay? So, all right, y'all. It was great chatting with y'all. Y'all have an awesome day and happy 2021. WON, because we winning this year. All right, y'all. Bye.